Actually, the first time that I heard about Inglorious Bastards was the Variety review of it. Whenever I got a Variety when I was a little kid, I couldn't believe it. I read it from cover to cover, and I would have one that would last me for a year or 2 years. And you're reading all these cool foreign things that you'll never see, all right, as a little kid. And then I come across the review for Inglorious Bastards, and I recognize your name, and they're talking about it, and Bo Svensson and Fred Williamson in it, and they describe the story. And I go, wow, that's a really good story. A bunch of guys condemned for court-martial, the prison convoy gets attacked by Nazis, everybody else dies except for them. Now they can't go back to their own lines, they're gonna just get thrown in jail or shot. So they gotta try to make it to Switzerland and fighting all along the way, everybody. I go, wow, that's a really fucking great story. And so I didn't see it, because it never got open theatrically that in America that I ever remember, or definitely not in Los Angeles, but I doubt anywhere. Please tell me if I'm wrong. But Channel 5, it was either Channel 9 or Channel 5 out here, KTLA or KHJ. But I think it was actually Channel 5, got it, and I got to see it that way. And it was just as cool as I remembered. And I remember talking to different friends about it, and we loved the name so much that at a certain point in time, whenever we talked about the genre, all right, a bunch of guys on a mission movie, we just started referring to them as Inglorious Bastards. All right, it became like our own little movie because no one else knew about it other than us. And so it kind of became, even more than Dirty Dozen, it became a shorthand for a bunch of guys on a mission movie.
But it's true that you saw the first time in the big screen in Venice. You saw when we went together there, Jordan, you and me sitting there. It's your first time in the big screen.
Oh, I'd never seen it in the theater. I only remember it from Channel 5 showing it. They showed it about 3 or 4 times, and that was it. It never showed up again. It got released on video as Deadly Mission by Lightning Home Video, I believe. But then the most known version of it now, that's been out before, is the Xenon release called G.I. Bro, as in Bravo. And that where they took the Xenon is a company that releases blaxploitation movies and releases kung fu films, and they ebonically retitled them more for the black audience. And so they took Inglorious Bastards and they put Fred Williamson big on the cover, which he's the second lead in the movie, so he can
they changed it. They cut something there.
I never watched it, but I never saw it though. I never saw the Xenon version, but I have it. It's in my video collection.
Great, great. And now here we are. So for me, I mean, it's a so great occasion to meet you again, to stay with you, and to talk about a movie that is a movie that there is a relationship between you and me by a movie. It's great. I mean, for 2 directors to have one movie in common is it's something interesting, you know, in talking. Especially because my dream now and what I'm waiting for is to see how you shoot the movie. Because when you told me about the first sequence of the movie, we don't say nothing because it will be a big surprise. Great. As it was for me when you told me. And I'm waiting for the way that Quentin Tarantino will shoot that sequence. I'm really anxious. I'm waiting for that.
Well, you know, it's funny because it's actually a very strange / apropos / kismet time even to be doing this interview, because I'm writing it. I'm right at the very end of it right now. I'll probably literally finish at least the first draft. Like in the next week or so. I was even writing on it this morning before I came down here and put the pen down to come down here. So it's like, so I'm right in the zone of finishing it up. So I'll be finished up with the script shortly, and hopefully we'll just go into production right away.
Yeah, great. This
well, it's been a long time. I started writing it years ago. I started writing it about 6 years ago, and I wrote a whole bunch of stuff on it, but it was just too big. It was like a novel. I just couldn't shut my brain off. And I realized I'd kind of it's 2 movies here. So eventually I had to split them up. And so the first one is what I'm doing now.
What about the casting? You know,
right now I'm leaving it very open. I've had different people.
Fantastic.
I've had different people in my mind for a few different roles, but a lesson that I keep teaching myself and I'm tired of learning it. I think I've actually learned it now. I don't need to mess around anymore. Is for the most part, I mean, I can write for this person, I can write for that person. I've done that before, and it always works out great. And when it's the right person, then it's great. But basically, I want to just let my characters be my characters. All right. When you start thinking too much about somebody, then you start writing for them, and you don't write stuff they can't do. You know, and that way your characters, you know, they can never possibly be what they can become. All right. You know, if you're writing for Joe Schlemoka, and all of a sudden Joe Schlemoka needs to be able to speak German, Spanish, and Portuguese. Well, if Joe Schlemoka can't do that, then all of a sudden that character can't, you know, you're not going to go that way with the character. But if the character has to be able to speak those 3 languages, and then you write it down, and now you have to find somebody to be that guy, and that guy is the character. Your character doesn't get fucked up by limitations of a person. And so that way, I'm like, you know what, I'm throwing all the actors out of my head, and I'm just letting these guys be who they are, and these women be who they are.
Because you know, on the news, on the Variety and something, and came out the news about the casting. And yes, of course.
I've had, you know, it's been 6 years I've been writing, so I've had conversations with this guy and that guy, so but nothing. It's all just been having a beer and, well, let me tell you about this. And, you know, it sounds good. But like, no more than the conversations we had in Venice about it, which was a great conversation.
Yeah, good. So, and then who will play the part of Fred Williams? Samuel J. Jackson, of course. Yeah. And who will play the young Italian guy, Banderas? Yeah. Like who is who played Bo Svensson? Clooney.
Yeah. It was funny. That was one of my favorite parts in Inglorious Bastards. Is I love that little Italian guy. Yeah. In the film, he looks like Sonny Bono. I think he's terrific. But I love his whole thing when he pretends to be German. Jawohl! Jawohl! That's a great comedy bit.
I remember in Venice in the projection, you start laughing when they say Jawohl. I didn't expect it was so funny, but if Quentin find funny the series,
that was always a great
I
bit.
did something interesting.
Now, you know, let me ask you something else. One thing that was really cool. One of the things that they mentioned in the Variety review that I thought was really interesting, and it's they're in the movie for sure, is the idea that as much as the film actually is fun, and it has, you know, a bunch of guys on a mission and they got this cool journey and it's a lot of fun. It's a big fun adventure film, as opposed to the horrors of war kind of movie. But in the Variety review, it mentioned that it said that that the film definitely has a stylistic influence, is stylistically influenced somewhat by Peckinpah's Cross of Iron.
It's true.
Yeah, because I saw Cross of Iron when I was a little kid. But what was interesting is even Variety explaining, because I didn't know this then, that Cross of Iron was a huge hit in Europe. And so not only was it a hit, there was like a few war films that came out afterwards that were in the vein of Cross of Iron because it was such a success there. And it is actually, and it's really cool at the end of the movie when all of a sudden the blood, slow motion blood hits, and it starts getting me, you know, people are agonizingly shot. All right, and the sequences are become really graphic and they're stretched out. In the film, it's like, whoa, when did this start happening? It's so cool, but those images, your use of slow motion is just terrific. Even I mean, just little images like the potato masher flying through a glass pane of the train door. You know, the way it just kind of sails through, you know, 3D-like, right in the camera. Those moments are so great.
But anyway, I like slow motion, really, and because but that I copy in the Wild Bunch of St. Peckinpah, because intercutting the two scene and high speed is give more emotion, more speed of the reality. I mean, is the guy who is shooting, the guy who is hitting, and then both into editing, intercutting between the two. Is something. There is a ballet.
It makes it very operatic. Yeah, the music is playing, soaring.
And that, I think that in all my movies, and there is a moment, especially in Journey of the Birds, and I will use all the high speed of the action and put together. But it was just to see and to do something different at the end. So I did all the editing of the battle. It's terrific. It's very violent. But at the end, no sound. No, just the music and no special effect, and just to see them.
Well, It is really cool when you build up to the sequence in the right way. It is really cool where you've got the sound effects and then you drop it all out and then it just becomes, like you said, a ballet, a violent ballet. All right, just nothing but music. All the other sounds go out, the bullets go out, but just.
And it's true. It's less dramatic. I mean, it's but sometimes it is more. I don't know exactly if it's more dramatic the high speed or is more dramatic the real scene.
You know, it's like, you know, it's if I think it's the thing. If you want it to be brutal, then it's more normal. Ba 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 ba. All right. If you want it to be heart wrenching, where it like rips your heart out. All right. Then it's great with the slow motion, and then it becomes an opera.
So I like the second version.
Yeah.
It's true. Well, give us the chance to see what the eye can see.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm shooting in 120 frames means that never your eyes can catch in 120 frames in 1 second. So to see the reality and to see in these details is a big surprise. I mean, from the beginning, when I did my first high-speed scene, I did, that's...
this is what I'm talking. That's the way to go. Yeah.
Well, the first time I saw it in this Japanese movies and the Seven Samurai. At the end, as you remember, the death of each one was just the last moment. What a great! And then Wal Bunch gave it to me there.
Now, is part of the attraction of slow motion, just as a filmmaker, is part of it the fact that you design it in slow motion, you think about it in your head, you choreograph it in your mind, and then you shoot it. But you don't really know what you have, all right? It's not until you're sitting watching the rushes in the theater and you look what you did.
The surprise is there.
And it's a real shock, it's a real surprise, you know, and so, I mean, is that part of the attraction?
Yeah, it's true. Just waiting for the
Just
something that you know.
You
don't know because you didn't
this,
see.
but you don't know until it's a case.
You suppose.
Until you bake it, you don't know what you got.
It's true. There's a big surprise in the Russian. Watching the Russians, God, I like it.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like waiting for that slow motion. Okay, when are we gonna show that one? Let's get to that one. Enough of that crap.
I know it's quite expensive because you are using a lot of film to do. Especially because you know that before the speed is right, you are losing film, and then at the end when they say stop, before that he stop the camera, the film is still going on. So you know the producers say don't do too much.
Okay, you know I got to tell you something. I'm thinking about doing a slow motion sequence exactly like what we're talking about at the end of the movie, and you're kind of talking me into it right now. I wasn't 100% sure. It's been going back and forth in my mind, and I think you might be talking me into it. When the movie comes out, we'll see.
That's true.
We'll see if it was a good idea before I came to my senses, but I think you're talking me into it now. Yeah, that would be a good idea to do it that way.
Great.
Oh, let me ask you a question. How did the script come about?
Well, they called me. And there's a producer called me. They said, we are interested to do a war movie with you. And I'm interested to do a war movie with you.
Was anybody cast by that time or anything?
No, nothing. Just so they given the story, I didn't like it. So the idea is good. So I started to work on it.
Was it the same idea?
Yeah, the same idea, but was, you know, the script was not exactly my style. I mean, it was losing time. There is one not my speed, and all the action was just at the end, at the beginning, but not during the movies. So I started to move. Not here, action. With the two and Marotta and Toscano as two writers, we rewrote the script. And according with my ideas, we did this and this and this. During the movie, suddenly, the government invent a law, a strange law. They took out, they pick up all my weapons, because it was forbidden, because there was, you know, the complex of the Red Brigade at that time was so dangerous. So they thought that, I don't know who wrote this law, because it's just crazy people, because he said no, because all the weapon using in the film and in the industry, the Red Brigade can keep it and use for but it's impossible.
Right, yeah.
Doesn't shoot, as you know, that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you know it's quite false, but
Right, yeah.
just the powder comes out at
Yeah.
the little fire. But you can use it. It's no more a real weapon. They keep all the weapons, and from that moment, I start to invent, especially the sequence in the castle,
Yeah.
and don't use the
Right, yeah, the machine guns, yeah.
so I invent with a to the
archery,
young
yeah.
and then with a knife. There's a lot of ideas in keeping from the castle, all the weapons for all the warriors that was inside.
You know, it's surprising how well these old things work.
And the rope to escape the big rope, because in the script there was a big, unbelievable shootout for to get out. But no, I went just with a rope, and because no weapons, no way to use. But and later arrived the permission of use the squibs and the explosion.
Yeah.
So I did all the copy of the weapons in rubber, in wood, everything in plastic.
Yeah.
But and put just the squib in front of the
Okay,
barrel.
yeah.
So one
Bam, yeah.
I see the first one,
Yeah.
and then with the zoom
Ba,
on
ba, ba,
him,
ba, 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 ba.
I remember a close up of Boss Benson. He was really in the intention, because at the end he was killing the general inside of the wagon. But so after the first shot, zoom on him, and the electrician was with the light doing this about it. And I will throw the part of the munition that get out. I was with this in front of him. Was really, and that time was decide that it was you can invent everything if you like, if you want to keep going and going. I had to shoot you, and you are a director with some fantasy. You can keep going, and don't stop, because the only gun, only one gun, but the real one was the pistol of the producer, because if we stop the movie, I kill myself. So it was really very there is no way to follow the movie. So we go in Yugoslavia, we go in Romania, we go everywhere in Africa, just to find a way where to go and using the gun.
Yeah.
But it was so expensive for the producer. No way to find the money for this change.
So you were stuck to do it in Italy. You were under the
Yeah, it was all around Rome. So I said, give me one night, please. Give me one night, and I will resolve. One night to think how to do the following and to keep going, and I will do it. And so I start to thinking, doing all of my drawing and the storyboard, and I say, okay, tomorrow we are the big scene in the castle, we will do it. We can do without the guns, just a copy. And from that moment, I was so excited to invent every day, that gave me the emotion to have something new every day.
No, I had a situation like that in Kill Bill Volume 2, the opening scene in the church. We were there to shoot that.
With Boss Vance.
Yeah, with Bo, exactly, with Boss Svensson. What a dumbass. Yes, of course, with Boss Svensson. And so we had the whole week to do that scene. And then it gets down to, now it's Thursday, one more day left. And I still hadn't brought in the killers, the Crazy 88. They were going to come in and they were going to kill everybody, and everyone was going to get hit and squibbed and shot, and we were going to see it all. And we just, we were going, we had a lot to do, but we're going a little slow. And so that Thursday night, we finish work and I go home. I go, I am not going to have enough time to do this shootout where they kill everybody, and I mean, just squibbing one person is going to be a big deal. I've got like 6 people to squib and shoot individually, and have the bad guys enter and all that stuff, and everyone's fucking reaction. And I go, well, no fucking way I can do that on Friday, and I just didn't feel like trying to stretch it over the weekend or anything like that. So I go, okay, let me think about another way I can do it rather than just show them all get killed. And then I designed that shot that ends. that ends the sequence, where it's like it's a steady cam and it goes through the church and it goes out through the church. It goes down the aisle and outside of the church, and then the bad guys come up into frame, and then the steady cam guy gets on a crane and the crane takes it way up, and then you see but inside of the church, and you just see like gunfire through the windows and stuff and hear it all. And I was like, oh, okay, bam. Now, it took us all day to do that very complicated shot, because it was like I showed up in the morning and go, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
And the cinematographer had to then light it for this one thing that would last all day and stuff, and we had to do it before sundown. But I ended the scene in one shot, but I had to rethink everything.
Of course.
But that's one of the best shots in the movie.
Yeah, that's give us, when you have to resolve one problem, you think much more than what you decide already.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
Especially when you're up
thinking,
against the wall.
yeah.
When you, it's
All
not
right,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah, you're not just sitting in your bedroom gazing about, I could do this, I could do this. Okay, how do I do this?
And it's, you are really, and you think to follow your movie.
Yeah.
Your movie, because it's important. It's not our movie. No, it's my movie. And I need to think to follow it. I have to resolve all the problems, but in my way.
But now let me ask you a question now. Did you? I don't want to put this. The film falls into that, like we say, macaroni combat genre of a bunch of guys on a mission. Were you thinking about that when you were making the movie? How this movie fits into that genre of like Von Ryan's Express and Guns of the Navarone and Dirty Dozen?
Well, really not. Really not, because I'm all of it the technique I'm looking for, but not the way how to shoot. Because the way how to shoot, I'm thinking the way.
I mean more thematically, not necessarily how they shot it. All right?
Yeah. So and just the morning, that the moment that is my creativity is running.
Yeah.
The moment that I leave home, there is the driver, and sit on the car and stay in the back, and I'm thinking that now I am the director. I am arriving on the set. I have 50 of people of the crew. I have 15 actors. I have a special effect, blah, and everybody are waiting my idea.
Yeah.
So I start, so I can handle everybody.
Yeah.
I can handle, a special effect, actors, and the light. So I start to think, no, the scene is, okay, don't. And first of all, that I am the first on the set in the morning. So I'm really tomorrow the electrician 7 o'clock, okay, and then there is the hour for the director is 8:30.
Yeah.
And 1 hour and a half, the people what is doing.
Yeah.
So I'm right first because I have the set only for me.
Yeah.
Only for me. So I invented here, there. And this is the first day. The second, when the people is accustomed to, and they know that
You're gonna be there at 7.
Yeah, everybody are coming
earlier.
No golden hour.
That's not the idea. That's not the idea.
Because no golden hour, because I know, you see, you must be here at 7, not at 6:30. But the director is doing what he wants.
Yeah.
But the creativity in the morning is so great. So, and especially when something happens, there is a problem. So I stop my movie for a problem. No way. So let me think. That's what I need in the story. This and this, and this, and I will find the way to resolve. Not say immediately, but in quick way. Great. What a profession we have. Huh?
I know. Tell me about it.
Oh God.
Do you want to give our guys a hand?
I'm pretty comfortable right here.
How did Bo Svenson and Fred Williamson come into the project? Because I think they had already done a couple of movies earlier together. Am I saying, or was yours the first one?
Well, I really don't know this, because the casting was William Morris from Rome. And they decided that, because they are already given to me the cast. And so
so you presented the cast?
Yeah, they presented the cast. So this is the American cast. With this cast, we can sell the movie. Yeah. So, okay, I have no problem. They are American. They are right for the character.
Was that the first time you'd worked with Fred Williamson?
Yes, it was the very first time. And I was so anxious of waiting for him, because I remember it. So I saw him in the screen, and I like him very much, very. And then, because I remember in LA years before I was here, and in a nightclub, coming inside, and I saw just a private room with this wonderful, beautiful black man with the 3 or 4 blonde hair. Who is this man? This is Freddie Williams. Cheat. So and when he came, I was really. There was the meeting was terrific. So we arrived in agreement immediately, especially because our sportmen, you know, we are talking about
athletes,
the sport. And it's great. With Bo a little less because he arrived in Italy, you know, with just thinking that the big star, American star, arrived in Italy to a little movie, maybe young director. I will teach you.
We have a problem here, Colonel.
So it's nice because it is. He asked me, we can change this and this. Great idea. And then he said, or we can do this and another his idea. Blah blah blah. blah. Great. Or we can do this. Always his leading character. Always in all the changeable was a leading character. But and suddenly I say, but it's better. No. I prefer your idea when, and I told him exactly the scene of my movie. So in the way that he was suggest me there and say that, and this, he didn't say to me that I didn't say this, but they said, really, this is my idea? Oh, yes. Oh, you like it? Yes, I like this. You did it. It's a wonderful scene in this way. So, but he understood immediately. A couple of times he tried to change, to be in the leader of the, was in no way. Especially, but it was so funny with Fred. With Fred, it was funny because I understood that he was a movie animal, you know?
What is all this mumbo jumbo about?
I saw that now in this scene, I don't want to know exactly what you will do, but please invent something because, and I explained to him what was necessary for me in that scene, what I was expecting from him, but we didn't discuss the way. Do it. And it was
like surprise me, entertain me.
But each time he surprised me, and I was so glad. That was so funny, Always it was a right invention, very right on his character for the scene, for everything. It was great. The big relationship.
Was it a situation after you worked with him in that you go, oh, I want to work with Fred again, and you guys were like, you know?
Yes, and I did several movies later with him.
And did Fred Williamson do all of his own stunts in the film, I'd heard?
Yes, and you know, sometimes I insist to have a double and say that no, I can do it. I can do it, and so we discussed the way
how we would do it.
The way that is not dangerous, but it's spectacular. And he did it. So happy to do it.
You know, it's funny. Fred doesn't remember this, but he knows about it now. I think he talks about it from time to time. But the first time I ever met Fred, I was always a huge fan of him since I was a little boy. But the first time I ever met Fred was sometime in the 80s. I was probably about like 22 or 23. And I wasn't in the film business at all. It's even before the video store. And I was in Hollywood, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was at a gas station, one of the pump your own gas stations. And it's 3 in the morning, going home, and I'm parked the car, and I'm walking up to the little island there where you pay for the gas. And as I'm walking this way, some guy has paid for his gas, and he walks that way, and he passes me, and I think, that's Fred Williamson. And Fred Williamson was looking good, too. I mean, it was like he was out partying all night, and it was driving home. And he didn't run out of gas, he was filling it up. So I'm filling up my gas, he's filling up his gas, and we're like across from each other. And I turned to him, I go, are you Fred Williamson? And he goes, you got it. And it's, you know, one of the real examples where you meet a star and you say something to them and the star answers back, all right, in just the way you'd want them to answer back. You got it. And that was cool. And then I proceeded to have a little conversation with him, and he was real nice. He talked to me. I asked him about, told him I really liked his film Black Eye, that he had done with Jack Arnold, and there was a really good fight scene in that movie, and how I liked the fact that he lost the fight scene. I thought that was actually really cool, that he would actually let his character lose the fight. And it wasn't even a big guy. He was like a wimpy-looking, not a wimpy-looking white guy, but just like a regular-looking guy. All right, it actually beats him in the fight, which is really strange. The film he did, Boss Nigger, and I asked him about, and Jack Arnold directed that. He goes, I won't be working with Jack Arnold anymore. He had a stroke, kind of fucked up now. But we talked for just a little bit. See you later. Got in his car, drove away. So when I cast him in with Robert in From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
And so he came in, and I met him, and I told him that whole story. And he talks about, he goes, yeah, well, you know, that's part of the problem, man. Is, you know, guy goes out and he creates a reputation for himself, and he's bigger than life, and he's a hero, and he's a star, and he's savvy. But then you meet people, and you're supposed to humble yourself, and not be that guy. You're supposed to be the really nice guy, and oh hi, how you doing? No, man. I'm gonna be the hammer. Are you the hammer? You got it.
A great guy, really great guy. He's a good actor, and as you know, he directs too.
Yeah.
He's a writer, so it's easy to a writer.
Well, yeah, no, that is the thing about him that's really cool. Is the fact that he's trying to help you get the movie made. He understands your situation. He understands the problem. He understands it maybe even more than you, because his stuff has no time. Right? He's all about, like, you know, his stuff is like boom, boom, boom. So I go, man, if anything, he's like, what the fuck are we taking so much time for?
So he understands immediately the cost of each scene, because
Fred is sitting there and they said, okay, this costs this, that costs that. Okay, now we've just wasted fucking this much time.
Right. So I'm still thinking that I'm so lucky that I meet people like that. That especially lucky that I'm here and talking with a genius like Quentin Tarantino.
Maestro.
No, it's you know, I'm still, I leave my emotion in my movie, in my career, in my profession. I'm never accustomed to this wonderful possibility that our profession gives us.
I know.
And
it's you know, I gotta say, it's one of the things that and it's great to see you, because it's one of the things that actually, I just know a few different people along the way that have had great careers. Anyone else would be happy to have them, all right? And you would imagine a great life that goes with that career and stuff. And, you know, at a certain point, they start getting bitter. And they're bitter, and they complain, and everything's a problem, and everybody's an idiot, and nobody knows what's going on except for them. And like, your life is too good. What are you fucking complaining about?
Exactly. That's the only way to live. The only way to live is this.
Speaking of which, do you guys have that for if not this thing, for one of the other DVDs, that little movie that was made about the making of spaghetti westerns with Enzo? Because that's such a. But the thing is, what's so funny about that is, I just, you know, you're the same guy in the tight black T-shirt, all right, choreographing the fight, right? In that documentary, of course you can't feel that way. You're just full of energy. You're just full of excitement of what you're doing.
Still now.
Yeah. The reason I always held on to the idea of doing Inglorious Bastards was, it's two reasons, okay? But again, you know, there's your initial spark of an idea, and then there's what you end up doing. Right? The initial spark was, I thought the storyline was really, really terrific. I thought it was really neat, and you could do a lot of things with that same storyline. You could go a million places with that storyline. And I liked the whole set. Like, other people have done movies about occupied France, but there seems something so exciting about the concept of soldiers that were criminals, that can't go to America. They're fighting the Germans and they're fighting the Americans trying to get to Switzerland. So I thought that was a terrific idea. Oh, I totally love your style of shooting in it, but also I really love. I also love the title. The title was fantastic. The title was fantastic, and it started and especially because other people didn't know the title. It was only I'm the only one who knew it, and if anybody else I knew it, it's because I told it to them and explained it to them and showed them the movie and stuff. So it became like a little personal movie. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah.
Because nobody else knew about it, only me. And if I am going to talk to anybody else who knows about it, I had to show it to them.
Great.
So, and that was that way for like 15, if not 20 years. How long ago did you make the movie? About 20 years ago, right?
30.
30 years ago, okay. So it's been at least that way for at least 20 years for me. Now, you know, in the last 8 years, people have seen it. So it's been like a little private little movie to me. Now, okay, the irony is I go and write the script, and that story ended up not working into the story.
Yeah, of course. But you know, just
like I do. If I do part 2, that'll be that story. But yeah, that's just the way things end up working out by the time you start putting pen to paper. But you know, really, but the actual real answer to the question is because it was, like I said, it was like a private little movie for me that only I knew about. And so even when it came to the title, it became like I had an ownership over it because nobody else knew it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like a little. It was like mine, all right. And if anyone else was going to know about it in America, I had to show it to them. I had to tell it to them. And when we did, then the title became ours. That's what I meant when I was talking about how we kept referring to Inglorious Bastards.
So, thank you very much. Because I really,
well, once you see the movie, all right?
No.
You might think I ruined the name. Inglorious Bastards, all right?
The title.
Wait for the bravo. It's for me to be done.
So, but the only way, I must be on the movie to say
Oh, you
fine.
better believe it, Mr. Handsome Man. You will be.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been fantastic.